Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. And as you know, I analyzed the Rapid Game 1 against Dingliren in the last videos. And all the match in general is analyzed. And I think that this time I will not analyze the Rapid games anymore, because the second game was a draw, and the third and fourth in the semi-rapid, semi-blitz games, they also ended in a draw. And I want to show you two decisive games that decided the World Cup, decided this match. And it was two blitz games, very important ones. If they would be a tie of 1-1, then simply, I mean, the Armageddon would be played and so on. So it was very important in general to try to win in these games, because Armageddon, anything can happen. But of course it was a possibility. Both of us, I think, tried hard in the blitz games to win the match and to decide the championship in their favor in this case. So let's see these two decisive blitz games against Dingliren in the World Cup final. And I will try today, we'll experiment with a new board on the Chess24. So you just tell me in the comments if it's a good board or you prefer the other one. There are many others, so many that I can try also for the next sessions. And let's see how this works. And let's consider the preparation for the Magnus Tour that starts for me tomorrow. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so the first game, Ding is playing with white. It's the first blitz game. And yeah, so it starts with knight f3. He went knight f3, knight f6, g3, d5, bishop g2, e6, castle, bishop e7, d4. Now we're transposing in the classical Catalan lines. c4, d takes, queen c2, a6. So after queen c4, one of the main lines as well. This is the main thing, and it's thousands of games. It's Tabia in this opening. But instead he goes for a4, which is also one of the main lines for white here after a6. So a4, bishop d7, queen takes c4, bishop c6, bishop f4. One of the possible lines, bishop g5 is also possible. But black can react with knight bd7 as well. I went bishop d6 in this game, which is very solid as well. So knight c3 is possible here, but then after bishop takes f4, g takes f4, white usually do not like to spoil the structure so early here, and it doesn't yield much of an advantage. Certainly position is playable, but doesn't yield much of an advantage for white. Instead, he went queen c1. The idea is to first play queen c1, defending this bishop, and then play knight c3, rook e1, trying to play for e4, trying to press the queen's flank with the a5 and just play, on the positional trumps. So knight bd7, rook e1, queen e7. It's very solid, knight c3, and now I took on f3, because if black takes first on f4, then queen f4, bishop f3, and queen takes f3. In general, in these positions, white is slightly better, because they can now play with e3, queen e2, I don't know, a lot of other moves. They're not afraid of e5 thrust in the center, and this is slightly better for white. Still, position after c6 certainly is solid, but it's not the best way to play. So the best way was considered, and still considered, I think, is bishop takes f3, bishop takes f4, queen takes f4, and c6. Very solid, but now white is playing for kind of pawn majority advantage on the the d4, e2, f2, g3, h2 against this e6, f7, g7, h7, because the c6, b7, a6 kind of shield against white's bishop is is blocked more or less with this a5. That is the next Ding's move. With a5 he blocks this 3 pawns. With their 2, white is blocking them, and now it's kind of advantage of pawn majority there on the king's flank, so they're trying to play for this. But at the same time, black is also having their trumps in terms of this. The shield is not bad against the bishop, first of all, also very solid. Also, these pawns b2 and a5 can be very vulnerable, like for example happened in the game. So black can pick them up at some point if they go with the queen somewhere to b4 and so on. For now, after a5, the main move, and I went rook a d8, rook e d1, e5, so queen e3, and rook f e8. So black is certainly is not going to stay under the spin, and they're going to f8 to play e4 or be able to take on d4 or move the queen to b4. So now white has to decide what they're doing in the center. If they take on e5, we'll just take with the knight, and certainly my position is very solid. So Ding goes for d5, e4. The point here is that if white takes on c6, then it's e takes f3, c takes d7, queen takes e3. And now after d takes e8, let's say it's a blunder because of queen takes e8 simply back. Instead of this f takes e3, just take on e3, e takes f3, and the most simple way to play for black here is rook e7. Just picking up the d7 pawn, and black is completely fine. I mean, certainly black is just doing okay here, no problems, it's an equal position. So instead, of course, Ding, after calculating this and maybe d6 as well, after this maybe queen e5, bishop g2, knight d5, takes. I mean, what's the problem here for black? If queen b3, some knight f6, queen takes b7, queen takes d6. Somewhere queen b6, some exchanges. White will probably win at some point some of the d pawn or whatever, and black will win the b pawn, and generally it should be a draw somewhere, but yeah, position is around equal simply. Okay, so of course he didn't go for this, he went instead for bishop g2, trying to still keep some pressure in the center. So c takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, rook takes d5, and knight f6 is all forced more or less. Very simple play now for black in general. They have developed, they just need to get rid of any kind of mates on the 8th rank. Knight is a bit kind of, you know, having some obligations, you know, to protect this e4 pawn, but not a huge problem, to be honest. So he takes on d8, I took. Yeah, h3, trying to improve his position, somewhere king h2, g4, king g3 possible, while after exchanging the queens, of course, otherwise there will be checks on all these black squares. So I was not going to wait, even though h5 would be just a good move, just enough move here. So I went instead queen b4, attacking all these pawns. Now the best way maybe for him would be to play queen c3, takes, some kind of draws like this. They, yeah, just rook d5, taking a5, black will take b7, will take a6, black will take c3, and it will be a drawish position. It was not in the plans of Ding, he was going to play, and also I was very happy about it, because it's, I mean, it's double-edged position, so chances for both sides. b3, h5, king h2, improving. Rook d5, which is a okay move. Maybe queen d2 was better already to start this, chasing the queen and playing for inequality. It's an equal position afterwards, after queen d2, but yeah, but rook d5 is also okay. So I went rook d5. I was hoping for some tricks, kind of like rook a4, queen e1 in my dreams. If white would go somewhere to a2, maybe knight g4, hg, and the rook will make some kind of mate on the h line. Would be nice finish to such game, and especially such an important game to decide the title. But certainly I was not hoping much on this, because I mean here even this is possible, and it's not the end of the world. White is not losing at all. So even rook c4, I'm not threatening knight g4 too much. But okay, yeah. But okay, at least it was nice that, you know, the rook also attacks a5, so it's not a useless move. But queen d2 was more to the point, just fixing the draw, and I mean, just simply playing this position in a right way. But right way doesn't always mean the best way, especially that I know that the result was favorable for me, so yeah. So maybe it made me win the game at some point. Okay, so needed some luck, of course, here. So let's see, queen f4. Here already I had to take on b3, then bishop takes e4, knight e4, queen e4, maybe queen b5, or maybe rook b5, and then queen e6. Let's say after rook c1, queen e6, takes. Black is completely fine, position is good, no problems, around equal. They're not risking at all. Instead, I went rook takes a5. Also normal move, but giving maybe some chances to white. So queen b8 check, king h7, queen b7. Queen f5, king g1. Here I decided to play e3, even though queen e6, for example, was possible, or a5 was possible also. For example, after this, maybe this is more complicated, this, and maybe queen e5, attacking both of these pawns. I mean, the bishop is quite bad for white in general in this one. I mean, there are so many weaknesses around the king. So after this, I can go this, and if bishop f3, let's say, not knight e4 because of, yeah, why not knight e4, knight e4 as well. Yeah, knight e4, knight g4, whatever, it just wins for black. Yeah, and so this was possible. Queen e6 was possible as well. Yeah, just around equal this position is. So instead I went e3, seeking some kind of unusual play. So f takes e3, queen e6, attacking e3, king f2, now queen f5. Certainly if white wanted to make a draw here, they would go for king g1 and they would be just fine. But instead after queen f5, white just went queen f3, queen e6 again, e4, which I don't like at all. I think white should go for some b4 here instead of this, some b4, and they would have some kind of chances, you know, to play for some advantage. But even though I think black is just fine after b4, maybe g6. But certainly after queen f3, as I wanted generally to play for equality here, I would play just queen b5, and that would be the right decision, attacking b3 and making a draw. Yeah, because e4 is always good for me, but here, I mean, after this he could go b4 first. So he played e4 instead. I went g6. King g1, trying to get this king to h2 safely in, you know, in the position where he will have to blitz his moves. So king g1, knight d7, transferring knight to e5. Queen c3, knight e5, very logical. b4, queen d6, king f2, knight c6, simply attacking b4, even though queen f6 was also possible, very good move. Knight c6, queen c5, trying to exchange. Now already he's playing in general for a draw, I think here. I'm also trying something in this one because now I have some slight chances to get some tricks. So queen d4 check, tricky check. Now he could go king f1 or something, but already he was not sure here. I think he was a bit shaky in this position. He took on d4, knight d4, e5, knight c2, and I realized that I'm having kind of slight chances, you know, to play with this a passer. So pass pawn there, far from the reach of white's king. So maybe there is a slight chance in this. Still a draw, of course, but he plays bishop d5, king comes to g7, of course, protecting f7, e6, trying to exchange the weakness. F takes, bishop takes, knight takes b4, king e3, king f6, bishop d7. Now I went king e5, of course trying to make some kind of a position and bring my king to the good position in the center. Bishop e8, knight d5, king d3, knight e7, king c4, a5. I'm not risking anything, I'm just playing, to see what white is doing. You know, if they make some mistake, they can be maybe worse here. Generally, it should end in a draw, but already here, around this moment, he offered me a draw. I declined, even by saying that no, I still would like to play. And it got him upset, I think, and he started to be shaky in this one. He went king c5, king f6. Yeah, instead of king c5, yeah, king c5 is also draw. King f6. The best move here would be king b6 to secure a draw for white. I mean, knight d5, king a5, knight c3, e3, king comes back, and there's no chance for black to win. Slight chances, but nothing else. You know, it's not winning at all. So it's around equal still. And instead he went king b5. Now I understood that he's slightly shaky here because he missed this kind of knight f5. Now g3 is hanging, knight d6 check is in the air. Yeah, so after knight f5, he went king takes a5, because g4 I will just, after g4, will just take and pick up the bishop, knight d6, knight e8. I mean, can I start with this, I guess, and take on e8 simply? Yeah, and yeah, maybe this as well, because he can't probably, yeah, he can do this. No, he can't do this because g3 and g2 I'm promoting, so it's winning as well. Yeah, and after this he went king a5, knight g3, and now it's already problematic, this one. It's still a draw, it's a beautiful draw, it's kind of draw by, you know, understanding or whatever you call it, because you have to know this position. I didn't know it, let's say, before today's analysis. Just for example, if you go e3, yeah, in this one, you just go e3. So, in fact, black is not winning here at all, even if they do different things here. Let's see what. So, for example, if they go knight e4, which seemed to be kind of close to winning to me, king b4, knight g5. I was thinking that this kind of position is a chance, but in fact it's just a draw, and computer is sure in this. Yeah, so bishop d7, king e7, bishop c8. Yeah, and now, okay, let's say we go king d8, bishop b7, knight takes h3. Yeah, some king c5, let's say, king e7, king d4. No, sorry, not king d4, e4 somehow. Important because of what? Why is it so important? If king d4, maybe there is a knight established on e5, knight g5. Yeah. Okay, if this, then knight g5, and if e4, I guess it's knight f3, knight e5. Yeah, it's knight f3, knight e5. So instead, white just goes for e4 here, and the point is that after e4, it's very complicated to see it from far, especially in the blitz game. I mean, you know, it's just super hard. So this, and if now knight g5, let's say, e5, somehow it's important to go with this pawn to e5 and deprive black's king of the squares on f6 and so on. So it's just good. Yeah, and very hard draw, but it was still a draw. It was still a draw, so we have to point it out here. Yeah. So after knight takes g3 instead, he went bishop b5, defending e2. And now I was winning completely after king e5, instead of my mistake. King e5 was just a win. Black wins here, it seems. Yeah, it's too big. The advantage given by the computer is too big. So king b4, king d4. Yeah, and it seems that black is simply winning. Yeah, I will just pick up all of these pawns, e2, h3. Yeah, very bad mistake. I went g5 here. That would cost me half a point if he would be correct in his next decisions. So still maybe winning, but very hard. Now it's already a study-like win. It's different. Of course, king e5, king d4, king e3 is kind of a simple win compared to what happened in the game. So, for example, after king b4 that he went here immediately after g5, probably it's still winning, probably, yeah. But okay, he went king b4, and here, okay, guess what? This time, instead of playing, king e5, I would have to find knight e4 first. Even though it's a logical move, depriving, white's king this pass to the root to save all of his pawns. So maybe knight e4 is kind of logical. And it seems it's winning. After knight e4, e3, king e5. Some bishop e2, let's say, or whatever. h4. Bishop f3, knight f2, bishop g2. Some knight d1. Knight d1. Okay, guys, my compi suggested it's winning. I tend to believe. Some e4, king d4, and it seems that black is winning. So let's believe, because it seems to me as well they're practically completely winning, and I think objectively as well. So instead of this knight d4, depriving this white's king of this root, as I told you, I went king e5, which is a horrible mistake. Could cost me half a point, but of course don't forget that we had like 5-4 whatever seconds here. So after king e5, he went king c3. Here I still had a kind of chance with this knight e4, which still computer says that it's a draw after this. Yeah. And believe it or not, this position is a draw. So knight f4, e3, knight g6. Important move, king g3. Don't ask me why, but it's important. It's hard to say, to be honest here. So some king f6, trying to play h4 or knight e5 later. King f6. Bishop e2. h4. and some only move king f3. Very hard defense, but probably possible in a desperate situation, you know, trying to defend everything. Maybe he would find this. So instead I went king f4, and maybe I was lucky to play this move, because after king f4, which is, as we understood, it's a mistake. It's not winning the game simply if white is playing correctly. So after king f4, he could go king d4, and this is a relatively easy draw simply. I mean, king d4 is the way. King d4, now let's say knight f5, some king d3, knight d3. But where is the progress? He will just put his bishop on wherever d7, and I think there's simply no progress for black. So yeah, this was a draw, as easy as this here. So I missed my chances. He had to take his chance here by playing king d4. Instead he went king d2, very passive. After king d2 I went knight e4 check, and now I'm winning. Now congrats, finally we're winning here. So knight e4, king e1. King d3 wouldn't change much. I would take f2, h3, but here compared to positions we saw, white is unable to put the king in front of my pawns there on g3, so they are simply uncatchable, all these pawns, this, and just take h3, and then these pawns just move forward. White is also moving their pawn, but it's not enough. I will give my knight somewhere there and just move my pawns to queen to promote. So instead, maybe it was still better, but king e1, he went in the game, king g3, bishop d7, now h4, all the classics in work here, e3, knight f2, king f1, knight h3. I'll just show you how I won this game. I think it was quite smooth. e4, knight f4, e5, trying to promote and put some problems to this knight, trying to, you know, to attract him to this e7 square or whatever, and still probably winning, but the simplest win is h3, as I played in the game, bishop c6, h2 now. King can't come to g1 anymore. Now the plan is very simple, so it was played in the game, so I'll just show you. Bishop b7, g4, bringing the helper there, promotion helper. King h3 and g3 is now coming. Bishop c6, king h3, bishop b7, g3. Want to play g2 now, of course. Yeah, if white goes e6, then just g2, bishop takes, knight takes, queen promotes, h1 queen was check. So instead of this, he goes bishop c8, last tricks, king h4, bishop b7. Now king g5, and it zugzwang because I want to come to f5 to catch the pawn and then bring my king again there, and the knight to f2 and promote h1 queen. So it happened in the game. So let me show you. Bishop e4, king g4, e6, knight e6, king g2, knight f4, king h1, knight h3, threatening knight f2, bishop f3, the last trick, and only thing is that don't play here king takes f3 because it's a stalemate. King f4, king g2, knight f2, king f1, and king takes f3, even h1 is winning. So this was a very crucial game. Immediately, of course, he was in a very, very bad mood because he had to win a second game with black to equalize the score and get our match to the Armageddon game. Let's see what happened in that game, and this was the final game that we're going to see now that decided the championship. And he had his chances there because I wasn't playing great, even though it seemed to me during the game that I was doing good because I didn't see one of the maneuvers that he had. So let's do the new session here. Let's flip the board as I was playing white, and let's see what happened in the game. So I went in this game e4, c5, of course, trying to complicate matters from the first moves and seek his chances in the Sicilian. Knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6. Oh, sorry, instead of a6 he went, yeah, I was waiting more a6, but probably he saw that in some forced lines it's not the best way to play it. So he went knight c6. I went bishop e2. I don't know why I went bishop e2, but nobody cares because I needed to draw, so I just wanted to play some kind of safe line. I went bishop e2, he went e5. Knight b3. Knight f3 is also possible here. So knight b3, bishop e7. Yeah, and bishop g5. I wanted to exchange the knight on f6, put my knight on d5, kind of grip there on d5, kind of having this Sveshnikov type of positions, which is not too risky for white, so I wanted to have just a normal play there. So let's see what happened. He went castle short, bishop takes f6, bishop takes, knight d5, bishop g5, avoiding any exchanges, of course. I reminded that he needs only a win, otherwise in case of draw I'm also winning the match because I won the first game. So bishop g5. Now generally white should go in these positions like castle, maybe bishop g4 takes e6 is also fine. So let's see what I was doing. I went bishop g4 in general, normal move, bishop e6. Castle short, g6. C3 was possible, but then I didn't want to allow f5. I wanted to exchange as many pieces as possible, so I took on e6, f takes, knight c3. He went queen e7, queen d3, a6. No, he didn't go a6, a6 was possible, yeah. Okay, rook a d8, more or less same. Rook a d1, a6. Now I had to play, no, a3 is right, maybe it's okay move. It's not right or not right, it's okay move. But knight e2 was also possible here. Just knight e2, not being afraid of anything. But a3 is normal, I mean, protecting against knight b4. It's just a good move, I think. So king g7, just improving his position. Of course I had to play knight e2, then just, you know, move around on my pieces, some c3 maybe somewhere, some queen g3, rook d3, rook d1, something like this. Maybe, okay, I don't know, maybe some knight e2, and then c4, and then knight d2, b4, stuff like that, bringing the knight maybe to f3 to protect king's flank fully, just have a good position. Instead I went queen g3, h5, showing the aggressive intentions, of course, h5. Now again I had to play knight e2, knight is somehow very well placed on e2. It's defending against all of this kind of bishop f4, rook f4, all that stuff. Simply just staying good there, protecting against knight d4 as well in some cases if you move the knight from b3. So knight e2 was just a good move. I went actually knight e2, which is a good sign. So after knight e2 he went d5. After making the knight e2 move, I'm not sure that knight e2 was so good. I was explaining how good it is for a long time, but not sure it's so great. It's not bad, but I don't know. Okay, knight e2, let's say it's a normal move. Just a normal move, nothing special. So he could go here b5, then I could bring again knight to d2 or something, just play this position like this. It's an unclear middle game with chances for both sides. Probably easier to play as black because they have this kind of nice center there, e5, d6, e6, protecting against all the threats. And they need to win, so they have their chances. They can move the bishop to h6, put the rook on f7, f8, try to double on f, then play some bishop f4, somewhere h4, g5, or something like this. Doesn't seem to be so dangerous, but yeah, kind of play still, and it's a blitz, so anything can happen. So after knight e2 he went d5. This is a mistake objectively, but practically a very interesting move. So I had to go here for some kind of maybe knight c5, some beautiful move like knight c5 was possible. Queen takes c5, queen takes g5, let's say. White is doing good. Maybe the best Compi suggests is knight c3, I'm not sure in it. But okay, I went queen c3, which is not that bad as well. Threatening some f4. If black takes on e4, I can go some knight c5. Just fine for me, I guess. He went rook f6. Now I went queen c5, which seems also to be normal. Maybe knight a5 was more to the point, exchanging the last, I mean, as many pieces as possible. Kind of okay here, knight a5 maybe. Instead I went queen c5, seemed natural to me. Queen c5, trying to exchange queens. He went queen f7. And here I've missed a great idea by black. So I either had to retreat my queen to c3, which would be a normal move. Queen c3. And if black goes, for example, after queen c3, some kind of, let's say, rook f8, which is a possible way. I can maybe go queen g3. It's not the end of the world. Then bring my knight from c5 to d3, protecting everything there and there. Just normal. It's a bit hard to play because not sure where to put the pieces exactly. It's always like move after move, you know. I'm doing something and he does something and I have to react with something special. It's not like specific plan that white has here. They have just to play this kind of dynamic game where they don't lose anything and just try to play around, more or less. So this was a possibility. Instead, after queen f7, I also had some kind of move with like c4 was kind of interesting. c4, let's say if d4, just take on d4. Don't forget that bishop on g5 is hanging. So kind of stuff like this was maybe possible, but still tricky, of course. Maybe knight d4. Yeah, it's kind of tricky still. I don't know. I wouldn't be happy to play this because there is some kind of, let's say, knight d4. Now if maybe rook takes d4 has to be played by white, but knight takes d4, for example, is rook takes d4. Rook takes d4. There is beautiful things. So knight d4, knight d4, rook d4, rook d4, b6. Wow, it's beautiful. Wow, it's so beautiful. Queen e5. Wow, it's amazing, yeah. Queen f5. And now bishop f4. The idea of b6 is that if you take on b6, then e takes d4, or I don't know, bishop b3 maybe. Okay, one of those, but e takes d4 is simply possible here, yeah. Let me check. Bishop e3 as well, of course. Yeah, bishop e3 just simpler. E takes d4 also winning. Yeah, so queen e5 and bishop e4. Bishop f4, sorry. And the queen is trapped in the center of the board with so many seemingly possible ways to retreat the queen, but no, there is not a single one here. And that's beautiful. So maybe c4 is not that great. That's why actually I've played here c3 in general. I was afraid of d4, but c3 is not so good because now I've missed a great way for black. He could go here, a very strong move, having a great chances to equalize. He would have to find queen c7, amazing way. Trying to, after c3, the point is that I have almost closed all the roads back for my queen. So after queen c7, now b6 is coming, and if I go for this, it takes d5, e takes d5. Here the only way now to play is f3 and trying to defend this position. It's normal, it's not the end of the world, but it's slightly worse for white, of course. But if I just take on d5, that's just to show you the point. I mean, this was the chance for him. I mean, if I take, for example, on d5, then it's b6, queen c4, and queen f7. And he's trapping my rook in the center of the board. So this is also winning for black. And that's the point, and probably what he missed from far. And after rook fd1, it's just knight e7, and black is winning. So it's cool. It's very cool. That's queen c7. Trying to trap my queen, so I would have to play some e takes d5, then f3, queen f2, retreat back, playing unpleasant position, kind of awkward. So it would be a nice chance to try and play for a win with queen c7. Position is not winning. It's better for black, but it's a chance, certainly. It's a much better chance than what happened in the game, of course. He went instead h4. Now again, as I was not understanding that there is some kind of threat of queen c7, so I just went h3 calmly. Otherwise, if I would spot it, I would go queen b6. Even though, of course, playing such moves like queen b6, you know, allowing h3, allowing rook f8. Well, some tricks again. It's unpleasant to play this if I have to go for this queen b6 and stuff, because queen on c5 seemed fine for me, but it's the best move in general, queen b6 still. And now h3 after rook f8. Okay, but yeah, I don't know, I don't like this position, of course, in terms of making a draw, because he's coming now with the rooks and so on. Like, for example, maybe queen b6, some h3, gh, rook h8, some kind of stuff like that. Compy still suggested White is not doing badly at all. Can go some knight g3 and then knight c5, but very strange play. So I don't like it, yeah. That's why, of course, I went h3. But if I would know what can happen after h3 in this one, I would prefer maybe queen b6. Now again, he could go queen c7. And again, I would have to settle for some e takes d5, e takes d5, maybe even f4. ef, some knight d2, bringing knight to f3 with good chances for white to play and defend this position. But of course, it was again the chance. Instead, after h3, he started to play wrong. So he went rook d7. Now already I had this feeling that my queen is not standing great there, and now it's also there is a chance to activate the knight. So I went queen b6, rook e7, knight c5, king h7. Now already I could take on a6, but I went b4. Seemed natural to me because it seemed that position is kind of a domination here. So why not b4? He went d4, maybe he could go queen f8 and stay on the place, but certainly he needs to win, so he had to try something. So he went d4, knight d3, c4 was even better, and then knight d3. So I went knight d3, still enough. He could go here d takes c3 to try to open up his pieces, and the center in general, knight c3. White is much better, but still it's a chance to play this game on, but game is on, but certainly white is not risking anymore here. They're just much better, and generally shouldn't lose at all. Instead, he went after knight d3, rook d7, queen c5. c4 was just great, just winning the game. c4 was just winning in one move. Or c takes d4. And then after e takes d4, for example, or knight takes d4 can take. Well, knight d4, just knight d4. Knight e5 is hanging. If e d4, just f4. White is close to winning. So it's just very, very bad. Yeah. Instead I went queen c5, blitzing this, so that this is very solid. He should go d takes c3, queen takes c3. It's what he went actually, d takes c3, queen takes c3, and bishop h6. Now it's the right way that I played a4, trying to play b5. He didn't see anything better here than to play knight d4, but it's hard to give a good advice to black. The position is bad. Queen e7 maybe was just a bit better. b5, ab, knight d4. Then again I can take and do whatever I want. This is a total block, and bishop is bad on h6. So he went knight d4, which is a bad move. Queen b2 was great here, winning. Beautiful little tricks. But instead I played knight d4, which is also not bad. In terms of, I mean, I just need a draw here, so why not knight takes d4 simply. E takes d4, white is close to winning actually even here. Queen c4. He could go e5, but certainly it's not a chance for a win. I would just take on f7 and take on e5. So he tried to complicate it with queen e7, knight e5, rook c7, queen takes d4, bishop f4. It's a desperate try already here because position is winning, but he still has to play to try some chances. So knight g4, rook f7, yeah, e5. Knight is threatening to come to f6. It seems very close to winning. I was very excited here, of course. I had much more time and certainly felt that this World Cup win is so close. So rook f5, I went b5, takes, g5. Here we had around 9 or 8 seconds here. I had around a minute maybe. And I've spotted a great trick that he fell in, and I mean he folded in this trick, and yeah, I was extremely happy in this. But it's a typical blitz school trick, blitz Azerbaijani school trick, you know, that many of our guys like such tricks, like super tricks and kind of take note of the opponent, and certainly it played out here. Of course, position is simply winning for white. There are so many ways here. G3, for example, wins and so on. It was not necessary at all. I could play just classically here, queen d8 or some rook d3. But instead, I just found this trick and was happy about it. So I went b6, rook c6. Now queen d7 is a simple win as well. I mean, white is just many pawns up. Yeah, but instead I went queen e4. And now if black goes, for example, king g7, just rook d3 or rook d4 and rook d1, and penetrating on d7, 7th rank. His position is very, it's winning. But instead he folded into the trick. He went rook takes b6. And I guess if you saw the World Cup, you know what happened after this. So it's a few seconds before you can think a bit about the win here. It's a simple tactic, but it's nice. Rook d7. Yeah, of course, when I played this move, I was super happy. It's clear now that white is completely winning. There is no chance to miss anymore the victory in this match. So knight f6, king g7, knight takes d7, rook b5, queen c4. He's playing by inertia here, certainly, seeing that he's completely lost. Knight c5, rook f takes e5, knight takes e6. Here Ding resigned, and of course it's a super happy moment for me in my life and career. It was a super important victory, and the biggest victory in my life in terms of the tournament victory. And I was so happy at this moment, even though I didn't have any energy for showing any emotions. I was kind of completely exhausted. It was a hard 1 month of full of battles and nerve stress, and all this preparations, many hours of preparations, many tie breaks, and yeah, but it ended very well for me, and I'm very happy about this win, and hope you enjoyed this series of the games from the World Cup, and stay tuned for more. I'll see if I do some recaps on the Magnus Tour tournament that starts for me today, or if you wish tomorrow. So it starts anyway on 21st, which is today already in Baku. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe and comment, because I'm very interested in reading your comments, and very nice to hear the feedback from you, what you enjoyed or what you want me to change and do, and so on. Also, please comment on the board. I need to know which board to use. If you like the other board, or maybe the Lichess board or any other board, just tell me. And thanks again. Hit the bell to be notified about all the updates. And of course, thank you so much once again. Till the next video. Bye bye.